What it is, guys, your boy Outside with I'm Alanizing, and today we have NFL playoffs 2024 wild card predictions, right? So we're going to get into both conferences, give my predictions on the scores, on what's going to happen, the whole bit. But we're also going to have some added things. We're going to get into the teams that I predicted who would make the playoffs this year, who didn't make it last year. We're going to go over that, which teams I got right, which teams I got wrong. And then we're going to get into coaches and front office who's been fired recently, get my thoughts on those, and the ones who were kept, pretty surprising ones. So we're going to get into that, but first let's get into the teams who made the playoffs in 2023, who I predicted would make it this year, okay? So I predicted 5 teams. The Falcons. I thought the Falcons would make the playoffs this year due to their signings of Kirk Cousins, Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates. Okay, I thought Raheem Morris as the coach. I thought the team would be better, but they finished 8-9 out of the NFC South. And that was pretty disappointing to see because I think the NFC South is pretty garbage. So I thought they would win it, but they did not. So that was pretty disappointing for them. I mean, for some point for them and for me, because I was predicting that was going to happen. And it did not. The Seahawks, they were in it for the whole division with the Rams, but the Rams beat them out the last 2 games, I think, to I forgot what it was, but it wasn't the win record. It was something else. I forgot exactly what it was. But the Rams beat them out, so the Seahawks did not make it. Even though Geno Smith had a pretty good season, he finished top 3 in yards, so pretty good for them, but not good enough to make the playoffs. The Jets have had a horrendous season. Way worse than we expected. The expectations were pretty high for the Jets, and they finished way below them. They either finished with 4-13 or 5-12. With the, I don't know exact record, but around the record. And it was horrible, man. I thought Aaron Rodgers would do better. He didn't do, I wouldn't say he did horrible, but he just didn't live up to the standard that we're used to him doing, used to him producing. And the Jets, not a good season for them. The Bengals, they almost made the playoffs. It started pretty bad, I think it's mostly down to they finished the season strong, right? They finished the season strong, but I think it was mostly just because of the beginning, how they started. Their slow starts that they have every year for some reason. I have no idea why they have these slow starts. Like Stephen A. was talking about. Zach Taylor, bro, they need to check that because I don't know why they start slow every year, but they do. They finished 9-8, so they're almost gone into the playoffs, but they were relying on the Broncos. They were relying on the the Chiefs to beat the Broncos. And so they were relying on X factors and not just them winning games. And maybe if they win the Bears' first game versus the Patriots, maybe they wouldn't be in this predicament. So, yeah, it sucks for them. So it sucks for all the Bengals fans complaining that the Chiefs didn't. Bro, you got to win your games, bro. Win your games and then go talk. But I feel bad for Joe Burrow. I feel bad for the whole offense. I feel bad for Joe. I feel bad for Jamar Chase, who was a Triple Crown winner. I feel bad for Trey Hendrickson, whose the defense is trash, but he is the main guy. He finished with 17.5 sacks, the best in the NFL, leading sacks leader in the NFL. So sucks for him that he's on that horrible defense. They did the sack. It's not soccer. They did fire Lou Anarumo. So I guess I don't know. He was a good coach, but I don't know what happened to him this year. Defense, tell you, it's just not good. So I feel bad for the Bengals that they didn't make it, but maybe you should, win your games and not rely on other people, and maybe you'll make the playoffs. The Chargers, I had them also, and I went 1 for 5. That's the only team I got right. They made the playoffs, and we're going to talk about them later on in the game. Later on in the episode. So, yeah, okay, we'll talk about them later. But I was great, man. Finally, you get a coach. He's good. Get you in the playoffs. That's what I told y'all. I've been telling y'all that. Teams who will fail, right? So I predicted Dallas and Tampa Bay. They both made the playoffs last year, but Dallas is the one who didn't make it this year, which is expected, which I expected. I mean, it's a shit show. Jerry's doing all kinds of drama, whatever. I knew they were going to make it, and then Tampa Bay, they proved me wrong. They made it this year. So congrats to them and their shitty division. But let's get on to the wild card predictions. In the AFC, the number 1 seeded Chiefs finished 15-2, and they have a bye. And their next opponent is obviously the lowest remaining seed after the wild card. Number 2 seeded Bills, who finished 13-4, go against the 7 seeded Broncos, who finished 10-7. I predict a Buffalo victory, 27-15. I think because obviously Buffalo is a stronger team, though the Broncos defense can give Allen and the offense, some company, some trouble, some problems, a test, whatever you want to call it. They had the most sacks this season as a unit with 63 sacks, and they have DBs, they have good DBs such as Patrick Surtain, who's in the running for MVP candidate, MVP candidate, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I believe the Broncos defense, overall, is a top 10 defense. So they obviously can cause them problems. But I believe the Bills defense will handle Bo Nix and not offense. Okay, Bo Nix, I know he's a rookie, so I'm not going to put that much pressure on him, but it just doesn't excite me, bro. It just doesn't excite me. Again, I think it's a rookie year, so it's not going to be that well. And against Buffalo, in Buffalo. So, yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, 27-15. For the Ravens, number 3 seeded Ravens finished 12-5, go against the 6 seeded Steelers at 10-7. I think Baltimore wins 30-23. The Ravens have been on a roll while Pittsburgh has been descending. They're coming off a 4-game losing streak in the regular season. I think Lamar and Henry, bro, they're going to run all over Pitt again like they did in week 16 as the Steelers defense has just collapsed in recent weeks. Okay, Russ and his offense has also been struggling. Pickens looks like he's tapped out on the season. The Ravens' pass defense has improved these weeks. Like I said, they should have, and they are. And we know Baltimore, bro, they're stopping the run, bro. They're being the number 1 run defense in the NFL. Pitt's going to rely heavy on the run. So, bro, they're going to have to pass the ball. And it's going to be a wild game from there. I think it's going to be close because this is the 3rd time they play this year. Both teams will make more adjustments than from the second game, right? And I think that's why it's going to be close. It's going to be close because they know each other, and that's how division games go. But I'm still going with the Ravens because they are the better team. The number 4 seeded Texans, who finished 10-7, go against the 5th seeded Chargers, who finished 11-6. I'm picking a victory for the Chargers, 24-7. This is my upset quotations in the AFC. The Texans have been dragging towards the finish line, bro. Finished 2-2 after their bye. They lost to 2 contenders, and that's why they're going to be 1 and done. For CJ, it's not been his best year. It's a sophomore slump. I mean, I can't really say it's been his best year because he only had 2 years. He's had a sophomore slump. Okay, with his boy Tank Dell, who went out versus the Chiefs. And he lost Nico Collins for a good portion of the season, the beginning of the season. And I don't know what happened there. I don't know. He still had Bobby Slowik. I think it's just a sophomore slump. There's a lot of pressure on him this year to get better from expectations of last year. So I think that kind of dragged him down. But we'll see. We'll see what they do next year. But the defense for the Chargers has much improved under Harbaugh. With the people CJ's going against. Like I said, bro, Staley was underperforming with the talent that he had on defense. Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, he was just way underperforming. And with this defense that Harbaugh's controlling, I forgot defense coordinator for the Chargers, but the one that they're having is going to cause problems for CJ. So I don't see, and the way CJ's been doing, I don't think it's going to be good. On offense for the Chargers, they have a lot of questionables, but I think they'll play through it. Houston finished top 5 in total defense, so they could cause some problems. But I still think Chargers with Justin Herbert, bro, is going to score. And I'm also think the Chargers defense stops Houston's offense the way they've been going this year. So I'm going with the Chargers victory, 24-10. In the NFC, the Lions, number 1 seed, they have a bye as well. They finished 15-2. As the number 2 seeded Eagles, who finished 14-3, go against the 7 seeded Packers, who finished 11-6. Philly. I think Philly's going to win 33-26. Depending on if Jalen Hurts is going to play, I think he will, bro. It's a playoff game. I know he's in concussion protocol, but I think he's going to get out of it, okay? Him, Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, on the offensive line with Lane Johnson, bro. Offensive line, the whole offense is lethal. Green Bay defense is pretty good. They're top 6 in total defense, so it's not bad. It's going to be a good battle there, okay? You got Jair Alexander. I don't know if he hasn't played recently, but he comes back, goes against that. A.J. Brown, Xavier McKinney on safety. Bro, it's going to be a good battle. And then on the other side, defense, bro. Eagles defense, crazy. So close game, but I'm going with Philly due to their number 1 rated defense, and it's going to be in Philadelphia. So give me the Eagles, 33-26. The number 3 seeded Buccaneers, who will finish 10-7, go against the 6 seeded Commanders, who finished 12-5. I think it's going to be it's my NFC upset. Okay, I think the Commanders are going to win 23-20. Bucs are good. Don't get me wrong, okay? They're good. But I think they're in the playoffs because their division is bad. Like I said, the NFC South is garbage. They've won their division these past few years, and I think they're going to be one and done because I don't think they're that good. Yes, you got Baker, who's he's rejuvenated himself. Mike Evans, Hall of Fame wide receiver. But the rest of the team is whatever. They're inconsistent. They go up and down. And the Commanders, they got a good record. They've improved under Dan Quinn. I think the roster overall is better than the Bucs. I think Jaden Daniels is legit, and he could take them farther with Scary Terry. So I'm going with the Commanders. Yes, rookie quarterback, so I'm not putting down much expectations on Jaden Daniels. Okay, I don't expect him to out-throw Baker Mayfield by a lot. And that's why I think the game's going to be 23-20. Picking that upset. My other upset, bro, the number 4 seeded Rams, who finished the season 10-7 versus the 5th seeded Vikings, who finished 14-3. Another NFC upset quotations, because, I'm going to explain to you all right now, but I think it's in quotations. But I think Minnesota's going to win 18-14. Right? So, why you say, right, upset, because the Vikings are a lower seed. But I think the Vikings are just better, bro. Look at the record. 14-3. That's not really an upset, but due to their seeding, it is. But I think it's going to be low scoring. Why people say low scoring. You might think low scoring for these teams, right? 18-14, low scoring. I think because both defenses are really good, bro. Really good. And both offenses have shown they can slow down or get stagnant, especially the Rams. Prior to the Seahawks game, I think they scored less than 20 points for 3 straight games. So they just got stagnant. And both teams have good D-lines. The Rams got Byron Young, they got Burst, they got Turner. And the Vikings, they got Andrew Van Ginkel, they got Jonathan Greenard, they got Phillips. So, both D-lines are good, both defenses are good. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. The defense is going to get the better of the offense that day. And the Vikings, like I say, they're just better overall. They could have been the number 1 seed, but they're not. They lost, obviously, to the Lions, and they lost to the Rams in the regular season. Some people might bring that up, and that's why they might choose the Rams. But I think it's actually a good thing for the Vikings, okay? They know they've lost to this team. It's one of the only teams, it's only the second team they've ever lost, because remember, they only lost to the Rams and the Lions this year. So that's the only other team that beat them that's not named the Lions. So they might have some motivation there. Might be more excited, might be more prepared to beat them. They might get more serious about it. And there you go. That's their motivation to beat the Rams. So I'm taking the Vikings 18-14. Now let's get on to NFL firings recently with coaches and front staff. Doug Peterson was fired by the Jaguars a few days ago. And in my opinion, it was expected, low-key. Okay, ever since the 2022 season, they have regressed, and I think they needed a change. Okay, remember that season they beat the Chargers in that wild comeback, and then they lost to the Chiefs, which, no shame in losing to the Chiefs, but, it was just one and done. Basically, you just won one game, then you're out. And then they just regressed. Last year they regressed. This year they regressed. The Jaguars are not good. So I think that's why Shad Khan fired Doug Peterson. And Trent Baalke's still there, but we're going to talk about that later. Just a little foreshadowing, but he's gone, and let's see who they get next. I don't know any rumors about the Jaguars yet, next head coaching hires, but we'll see what they go out. Antonio Pierce was fired by the Las Vegas Raiders this week, and it was his first full year as in 2023. He was the interim head coach. I think he won like the last few games of the season. So this was his first full year. And I guess, like me, Mark Davis, like Mark Davis, I expected some improvement, better than 4-13, maybe at least 8-9, okay, 7-10, something like that. But he hasn't had dependable quarterbacks, okay? He's had 3 quarterbacks this year. I think Minshew, O'Connell, and Desmond Ridder, bro. Like, those are your 3 quarterbacks, like, bro. So it was horrible for him, right? So I believe, one more year, to game probably another year, figure out the QB situation. And if they figure out the QB situation, like say they drafted Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, right? And you see that, we're pretty good, there's some talent there, and you see the team still hasn't improved, then I would let him go. But it was his first full year, man. First full year. I don't know what you kind of expected out of him. I guess like me. Like, I expected a little more games to be won, like some actual fight in the team. But I guess it's a culture thing and he needs more time to prove it. I don't know. But I guess it's actually too early. I wouldn't have fired him. I would have expected a few more games to be won, but I wouldn't have fired him. And now rumors are that, Brady, who's a minority owner and has a lot of say in the next coaching thing, the next coaching decision and cycle, Tom Brady wants Belichick. He wants Belichick. He signed the deal with the UNC, North Carolina's football head coach, but he has a buyout clause that's like $1 million, and for like the football world, it's not a lot. So maybe he goes, who knows? And then there's also Vrabel. He wants a Vrabel in there. Those Patriot connections. He wants him in the Las Vegas Raiders. We will see. No idea. But we'll see what happens there. Speaking of the Patriots also fired their first-year head coach in Jerod Mayo. Like I said, barely his first year. Also too early. Like, yes, they had Drake May, right? But he's also a rookie. They're barely year one. Both of them, Jerod Mayo and Drake May, are barely figuring out all this NFL stuff. Specifically, Mayo's figuring out all this coaching stuff. What to say as a head coach. What not to say as a head coach, right? And I think it's because the Crafts, they fired him. The Crafts fired Jerod Mayo, I think, because they want Vrabel. And they probably wanted him since last year, but they just, I don't know. I don't know if it was because Vrabel wouldn't want to be the coach, or they didn't know yet, or I don't know what happened there. But they didn't hire him last year, and I think they want to hire him this year because he's available. And I think, low-key, though, maybe if they didn't want him last year, Jerod Mayo was probably just a checkbox. Diversity hire, The Rooney Rule, cough. They probably just did that to hire him. Like, hey, we hired a black coach, and then now we're going to get our own guy, That's what happens, man. It's sad. Obviously, it's sad, but that's the way things go. So I feel bad for Mayo. They're probably going to give him another year. Close cases, though. It's barely year one, bro. Like, if he wanted Vrabel, he should have just waited, bro. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Patriots. I think it's probably going to get Vrabel, though. Most likely. Most likely to get Vrabel. Now, when it comes to this, right, first year and second year, I have a theory of coaching, right? When it actually comes to a good coach, I think a good coach can turn things around in any sport, mostly like soccer and football, the two footballs. A good coach can actually turn it around in 3 to 4 years. That is my theory, and I call it the 3-year rule. Now, it starts in year one, right, where I basically call it a figure-out year. And that's when the coach figures out what players he wants, what players are good in his opinion, what players work in his system or whatever he has to say his system. He figures out what plays work, what system work, what training methods work. Like, like outside the football field, soccer field, like how we do things, how you come into meetings. We set meetings at this time. Does it work better for this player? Does this training day work better for this player? And stuff like that. That's where you establish culture. That all happens in the first year. So it doesn't matter if you go 4-12. It doesn't matter if you lose one. It doesn't matter if you lose 1,000 games. You win one game. Like, this is the first year. Everything is new. Everybody's learning to adapt to things. So I think that's the first year. You call it the figure out year, and you just let it go. And that's what Jerod Mayo basically and AP didn't get. This is their try it out year. You're not going to fire them on your try it out year. See, you just got to figure everything out. And I don't know. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the first year rule. Year 2 in this rule, okay, is another year in the same system. You draft, or you buy, in this case in soccer, better players, have a better understanding, and then you expect improvement. You expect the players to get better. You expect more wins. You expect the coaches to get better and to build more chemistry, and so on and so on. That second year is vital, very vital. In year 3 and year 4, it could be another year, like say 4 years, right? Year 3 could be another year in the system, or they're actually good enough to be contenders. And there's multiple examples for this. Dan Campbell, his first year was 2021. They sucked that year. Like, they were straight trash. 2022, they started off pretty bad, but in the midway point, they started winning. Like, they went on a winning streak, and then remember they beat the Green Bay, and they're like, this is a catapult to next season. 2023, they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, and now they're the number 1 seeded team in the NFC. That took them 3 years. It took them 3 years. Jurgen Klopp, his for Liverpool, head coach for Liverpool, not anymore, right? He recently retired. But anyways, when he started off with Liverpool, his first year was 2015. By 2017, 2016, they're already contenders for the league, and they won the Champions League. They didn't win the Champions League. But they were in the Champions League final that year, and they lost to Real Madrid, to us that year. But they were, by 2017-18, they're already contenders for the league, and they were fighting for major titles. His first year was 2015. That took him 2 to 3 years. Kyle Shanahan for the Niners, his first year was 2017. By 2019, we were in the Super Bowl. That took him 2 to 3 years. Pep Guardiola, his first year for Man City was 2016. The next year, they won the league. Belichick, his first year was 2000. They were dog. All these teams for a first year, they were booty. They all sucked. His second year for Belichick, they won the Super Bowl, and they continued on to be a contender. So you see, every good coach, you got to at least give them 3 years. 3 years. By the third year, if they're not good, fire them. But the first year, you got to give them that year, bro. You got to give, even if they're trash, you see no improvement, it's a figure it out year. You got to give them the time to adapt, like themselves, for the owner themselves to adapt. Like, how am I going to do things here? You got to give them the time. And they didn't give them that, which is pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing, in my opinion. Continue on, though. GM Rob Carthen from the Titans. Don't know much about the guy, but he drafted Will Levis, so I guess that hurts your reputation. That hurts it. But he did a good job in building the defense, and I guess the owners were just tired and they want to move on from that system. Coaches and GMs kept. That surprised me. For the Colts, Steichen and Ballard. Though Ballard has drafted well since he's been there, like he's had talent, the Colts have underperformed 4 years, in my opinion. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2020 with Rivers at QB. That's how long it was. So it could be more of a coach culture thing. Like Frank Reich was there for a bit, and then it went and he was good. He took him. Did he take him to the playoffs? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he took him to the playoffs with Rivers and them. But then it went downhill, and then Steichen was hired last year, 2023, and then this year, Colts fans and neutrals expected that second-year improvement, like I've been talking about, the 3-year rule. And it's been the same as last year, or worse, with it seems how the players, they don't seem to care or be content at where they're at. That second year, like I said, is vital, okay, because the first year is basically a pass. Like I said, it's a pass to see what you're doing. That second year, that's where the pressure on improvement is there. Like, you have to see some improvement. It can't just be, we still suck. Like, no, you got to have some improvement. You got to see some signs that, like, okay, we have this figured out. Now we just need some more time to figure more things out. And the Colts did not have that. They were the same. They stayed mediocre, and that's why the fans are mad and angry. I think Irsay gives him another year. I think that's what he was thinking. He gives him another year in the 3-year rule because he just says, okay, maybe another year, and if I see improvement, then I'll keep it. He probably thinks it's a little lit, what's it called? It's dragging a bit, but he's going to give him that another year, and we'll see. If they don't improve, I think for sure he's going to fire him, but we'll see. We will see. Another one that really surprised me was the Giants. They kept GM Joe Schoen, and they were both hired together in 2022, and since then they've actually gotten worse. The record regresses every year. Like 2022, I think they finished like 9-8, and in 2023 they finished like 6 and something, and then this year they finished like 4-13. Like it just gets worse every year. The opposite of the 3-year rule. Dabol, he's not that bad of a coach, but he should do a lot better in picking personnel and coaching them, because he has not been doing that. Remember, they've been regressing. So he has failed there. But I'm really surprised that owner John Mara kept Schoen, like with the regression. And most of all, I think, is just the Saquon debacle. That was horrible. Like, it made Schoen and Mara look like fools by letting him go in free agency. And then to make it worse, like, not even that they let him go in free agency and Saquon has this career year with the Eagles, almost breaks the single season record. It makes it worse that we all seen it publicly on Hard Knocks. Where on Hard Knocks, you could see John Mara saying, I'm going to lose sleep if we lose Saquon. And then Joe Schoen's over here saying, like, yeah, we'll see, we'll match it, see what happens. We're going to let him test the market. Like, they look like morons. They look like morons with all this and what Saquon has been doing. So I thought that would be the last straw, and then Mara would fire him after that. But I think Mayo John is just doing it for pride, because with all the banners going around the stadium saying, John Mara, fire everyone. And he fired nobody. So it's probably just a pride thing. And he's just sticking it to y'all Giants fans. He's saying, I'm the owner here and I do what I want. A pride thing, basically. Saying, I can do whatever I want. This is my franchise. So I feel bad for y'all. Feel bad for y'all Giants fans. And let's see what happens. Probably going to get worse, homie. Until they get... But crazy, bro. I would not happy to be a Giants fan right now. Not happy. Bulky from the Jags. Like, I was going to get into him. Never liked, bro. Okay, he stayed. And since he got to the Jags in 2020, they haven't been great. They've just been average. Like 9-8 were their best finishes. He wasn't good with the Niners his last few years. I never fancied, bro. I'm surprised he still has a job in the NFL. Like, I don't know why Shad Khan stuck with him. Like, he literally said in one of his interviews that, like, or like one of the Zoom calls or whatever, was saying that, like, I know the being Jaguars coach now might not be a prominent destination because I stuck with the GM. Like, damn, bro. Like, so your GM's not good, but you're gonna stick with him? Like, okay, that's insane. But never liked, bro. I don't know why he's there. Mike McCarthy. Okay, he's still with the Cowboys. The Cowboys rejected the Bears' request to interview him, even though he hasn't given him a contract yet. Jerry, bro, I'm telling you, bro. Jerry Jones is weird. He hasn't given him a contract yet. But he said the other day in one of his interviews, like the last game interviews, he said, oh, yeah, he could go talk. Not specifically said McCarthy, right? But he could go talk to other teams, right? Let him talk. And now he rejects the requests of them to interview him. Like, bro, what is bro doing, bro? Like, you want to know or not, Jerry? Like, what do you... And then the Jerry being the incentives thing in Cooper Rush's contract saying, oh, I didn't even know that. They had to tell me, like, are you the GM or not? Like, this guy, bro. You know what? But it doesn't frustrate me at all. It makes me happy. It makes me elated because I know Jerry's doing a great job. And as long as Jerry's there, the Cowboys are going to be dog shit, bro. And they're never going to win anything. So, thank you, Jerry. Keep up the good work. And stay as GM as long as you can, dude. You're doing a great job. Stay there, bro. And moving on to my Niners, bro. Kyle Shanahan and Joe Lynch. So Jed York said about a week ago that they are not going anywhere. And Jed York is correct, bro. He's made the right decision. Like I've explained a billion times. Okay, I don't care all these Niner fans saying we should fire him and do this. You're insane. You're insane. You're insane, okay? One bad season can't tarnish or devalue multiple seasons of success. Okay, can Kyle improve and get better, especially in Super Bowls? And I don't know what happens there. Of course he can, and I think he will. Of course he can, and I think he will. But teams We've seen, bro, some teams can't even make it to the playoffs consistently, bro. We've made it to the NFC Championship 4 out of 8 years. 4 out of 8 years. Okay? So I'm not going to throw that down the trash. I'm just not going to do that. So I'm sticking with him, and I'm glad Jed York's sticking with them because he knows, bro. He knows You guys want to go back to the 2016 years? You guys want to go back to 2014, 2016? No. No, we don't. That was horrible. That was horrible, bro. No way. No way. So I'm glad Jed York sees it like I see it. Come on, we got to give him another year. If next year we don't have the same injuries and we're still bad, okay, now I see the rumors making some sense. Depends how the team performs. Okay, now I would consider firing him. But if we go back next year and we're still contenders or we're still in the playoffs, bro, no one's going to say anything, bro. And you guys are all going to regret that we did that, okay? It's the facts. It's the facts. So let's let it be. Let's calm down. And let's do what Jed York said. They're not going anywhere. Let's give them another year, guys. Another year. And that was it for the episode, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Listen to next week. We're going to do a divisional round. And then after that, we're going to do the conference championship round. And you guys know it's the playoffs, bro. I drop episode after episode after episode until the Super Bowl. So we'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.